Let's go through the setup for this online version of the lab. So I'm clicked on the link. That's what your screen would look like as it loads. So it's actually loading a Java file. That's what the jar is loaded means. And now it's running the actual simulation. And here we go. So when you get to this tab, what you want to do is you want to click on the Charts tab at the top. So it'll look something like this. You have three graphs here. We're going to ignore the acceleration versus time graph. We're only going to focus on the position versus time graph for half the lab and the velocity versus time graph for the other half of the lab. Now, this digital version is simulating what we did in class. And what we did in class is we used a sonar device. And the sonar device does not measure negative positions. So the sonar device sat at a distance of 0 and only pointed to the right. So I could move away from the sonar device going to the right, or I could move towards the sonar device going to the left. But when you get to 0 in this simulation, stop, because the sonar device doesn't go behind 0. It starts at 0. So to make what you're going to do is you either be given a graph or you'll be asked to walk out a graph. And to do that, what you do is you'll click on the man and then you drag him. So as I drag him, you can see the position versus time graph is moving as time goes on. And then I can speed him up, I can slow him down, I can move him backwards. But when you're moving him backwards, stop at 0. So moving to the right is moving away from the sonar device. Moving to the left is moving towards the sonar device. So we're pretending the sonar device is located at 0 like it would be in the lab in class. Now I'm going to pause this for a moment. Now look at my velocity versus time graphs. Man, they're all kind of wiggly. So what you want to do, like look at the peak here where the cursor is and the peak down there. Even though it's kind of wobbly, look at this as being a straight line. So ignore the little wobbles that go on there. This goes up, pretty much horizontal, and then down. So when you're looking at the velocity versus time graph, they're a little bit more difficult to look at because they're not as smooth. The problem is that it's taking so much data that it's taking all those little wiggles that your cursor does and turns them on the graph as little wiggles on the graph. If it took fewer points of data, it actually smoothed this out a little bit, but it's not. So this is the way it goes. All right, so that's kind of what you're going to do. Move the man back and forth. When you've done one of the setups, then you can stop, hit the pause button, and you can clear and start over for the next setup. Now, even though you think you know what the guy is doing, when you're writing it down, you should test every scenario to make sure that you have it right. When you're done, you should nail them all, just because you've checked them all using the simulation. When you're done, also, you'll be able to use everything you type in your document on the quiz that you're going to take for the lab itself. So take good notes.